Good evening and welcome to our show, Going Public. I'm Renee Fonseca, and joining us tonight are Village East Elementary Principal Therese LeBlanc and Village East Elementary teachers Naya Harding and Emily Tuttle. Village East Elementary School was recently named a comeback campus by the Louisiana Department of Education for improving LEAP scores in both ELA and math. So that is a big accomplishment, you guys. I want to thank you, and congratulate you for coming on the show. Ms. Therese, how long have you been a principal at Village East Elementary?
So I have been at Village East for 6 years now.
And then what changes have you seen the school over your years there?
So joining the school 6 years ago, it was an elementary school. It was a middle school. So the first year we were there, it changed to an elementary school. And then over the years, we also added pre-K. So now we're pre-K to 6. I think some of the biggest changes have been the knowledge of our teachers, their ability to learn the curriculum, study and analyze the data, and then make decisions that are benefiting the children. So the biggest changes I think we've seen is the knowledge of our teachers and also just the atmosphere and the climate. As a team, we worked really hard to give our kids a safe and loving environment, and I think that we could all attest to the work we put into that, and we've been super successful with that.
And earning that honor is very good. You guys are the only school that improved in both ELA and math.
That's right. So we are one of 41 schools in the state, and the only one in the district who performed to get to the comeback school status, which is we improved in ELA and math by increasing the number of students who were proficient, reaching mastery or advanced, and also decreasing the number of students who were scoring unsatisfactory.
And how do you guys continue to increase those proficiency levels on the LEAP test?
I think a big part of it is every grade level understands the importance of our students reaching their fullest potential. And part of that, and one of the things we did was we do a lot with small group instruction. So while the teachers are teaching a Tier 1 curriculum, they're also studying the material and changing what they can to meet the needs of all students.
And what support systems do you have in place for academic growth?
So our teachers, we have a lot of digital platforms, but I think everybody knows it's the teachers that come in and make that happen. I give full credit to my faculty and staff. We also use our staff in helping our teachers, where we have some staff members who may just pull students who need a little bit more help in ELA. We have a staff member who is bilingual. We have a couple, and they help out. We have a large Spanish population, and we are learning to navigate that to help them as we go. But all of those supports coming together with the same goal, I think, is what's helping us get there.
Can you tell me a little bit about your leadership team?
So our leadership team has changed over the years, but we all have the same goal in place. We want everybody to come to school wanting to be there, our faculty, our staff, and our students. And once we have that in place and we give as many rewards and accolades that we can, then we make sure we're honing in on the academic side of things. And we want everybody to be happy. So it's nice to have everybody on the same page.
And then speaking of your teachers and their growth, we have two with you tonight. Miss Naya Harding, do you teach kindergarten, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And how long have you been an educator?
This will be my 5th year.
Your 5th year? What do you think has been the biggest academic support for students in your classroom?
So I think in my classroom, the biggest academic support is, Ms. LeBlanc touched on it, but small group intervention time. Because within that hour each day, I'm able to remediate for the kids who need more help and need the lessons scaled back, but also for the ones who are almost there, but they just need learning gaps closed. I can give them the support they need. And for my higher performing kids, I can use that time to really push them and challenge them to reach different concepts that they're able to get to. So within that hour, I'm able to service the little pockets of learners in my class so that everyone gets what they need and no one gets left behind. So we use that a lot.
So you do. And also with us, we have Miss Emily Tuttle, who is a 3rd grade teacher there as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Emily, what do you think has been the biggest academic support for you in your classroom?
Obviously, things involving content, but for me, the biggest academic support is building relationships with students. At the end of the day, they are not going to learn from someone who they do not love and that they do not believe loves them. So I think it's really important to build those relationships. Also, teaching them things like hard work and endurance and not giving up that maybe they're not learning at home. You're able to help them be better learners by just helping them be better people.
And then we're going to talk a little bit about data. You know, with LEAP scores and with your school scores, data is important. How does analyzing this student data play a role in your lesson plans, Naya?
Well, analyzing data really allows you to see exactly where your students are. And when you have that information, you can plan and modify and adjust accordingly to get them where they need to be. And a lot of times, too, within our data, we can kind of see where the disconnect sometimes happen from what you feel like as the teacher you sit there and taught them and the information that they actually received from you, because sometimes they don't line up. So if you see a large portion of children missing the same concept or making the same error, you now know how to fix that for the next group of kids you have to teach, and also just within your next lesson, how you can fix that. So data is super important.
And how often do you analyze your data for your kindergartners?
So we do progress monitoring about every 2 weeks, where we're looking at how they can segment, how many sounds they segment, also how much they can blend. But even on their comprehension tests, they take one about every 2 weeks or so. And so looking at that, you now know maybe I need to bring in more visuals or I need to slow down when teaching certain things. So it really helps you see how to plan the next thing your kids will be learning.
It's definitely an important factor. Emily, how do you use the data within your classroom?
I mean, I believe Naya said it perfectly. We talk about it daily, weekly, even within just that one class period. If you do an exit ticket, you're able to see who got the concept of the day, who's going to need help tomorrow in a small group setting. We talk about it in our PLC settings, how we can really help each child become their full potential.
And I would say too, in our older grades, it's pretty much starting in third grade, or we touch on it with the littles. The bigger kids, we try to make them responsible for their own learning goals, getting them to understand where their growth is, what they need to work on, so that they can see their own successes.
And do they have a form that they use for tracking purposes to see it?
They do. It depends on what we're tracking, but it's more than one form. But yeah, they kind of keep up with that themselves.
They definitely need to be responsible for that and know what you guys are looking at day to day. Let's talk about parental involvement. How can parents at home help their children grow? Naya?
Well, I feel like there's a lot that they can do, but for little children specifically, I strongly recommend to expose them to as much literacy as you can, as early as you can. And that doesn't have to be anything that's expensive or time consuming. It's as simple as reading to your child for 10 minutes each day, because in doing that, they start developing the foundational skills they'll need once they get to school. So left to right tracking when they're reading, their comprehension abilities, how to express themselves and to think critically. So doing something as simple as reading helps them so much. And also finding opportunities within the day to incorporate learning. So have them count how many chicken nuggets are on their plate, or talk about shapes and colors when they're at the stop sign. There's so many times that you can incorporate it. And another thing I would suggest is to set high expectations for your children. I have seen that if kids feel that you believe in them, they start believing in themselves. And when they believe in themselves, they become more confident. And when they're confident, they thrive and they really rise to the occasion.
And how often do you communicate those tips to your parents? Do you have meetings or do you send that home?
So we have a really awesome format called School Status, where we can message our parents and call them. And so we try to push out information like that as often as we can. They get folders daily where we send home suggestions of things they can do with their kids and activities they can do at home that'll really support them once they get in class.
Well, good. Emily, how can you add to her answers regarding parental involvement for your third graders?
I think somewhere along the way, and this isn't for all parents, but in some cases, I think that parents may have forgotten that education is a partnership. They have to be a part of the equation for the students to be successful. So to just like she was saying, bring learning into the household with simple things, and reading is such an important thing, because in third grade, we do need them to be reading on grade level, and that does make it difficult. So
And I have one last question for both of you. What are some of your most proudest moments as a teacher? Naya?
I think it happens once a year when we get to the end of the school year and we look at their beginning of the year data and their end of the year data. And to see the growth that occurs from the time that they're with you is amazing. And when you have students who started with all zeros and now they're at and above the benchmarks where they should be, or the children who come to you who don't speak your language at all, or they're too shy to open up and now they don't stop talking, it's just the most amazing thing to see how they grow.
Well, good. You can see the excitement, I'm sure, in their faces as well as yours. Emily?
there's so much joy in this job and so many things to be proud of. Last year, my students actually had some of the highest scores in the district for third grade math, and that was just the coolest feeling. And then on a personal level, I had the honor of representing Village East and Terrebonne Parish as a top 9 finalist for State Teacher of the Year 2 years ago. So that was really an awesome experience.
So you definitely have some proud moments, and you guys will continue to have those moments.
Yes, ma'am.
And congratulations once again to
Thank
Village
you.
East and your accomplishments. Hopefully next year we will see you guys here again for those same accomplishments, but more.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I would like to thank you, our viewers, for watching. Don't forget to join us every week on Going Public. Good night.